1965 Admiral color television repair part 3. Let's do cataract surgery on the CRT. So in part 2 we got the TV working, color and all. In part 1 we worked on the sound system. Today is January 1st, 2021 at 8:36 a.m. Take note of that because I do lurk in those vintage television groups, and I see the younger people, the impatient younger people, trying to do this cataract repair, and they break either the CRT or the lens. You can't rush this. If you're not a patient person, don't attempt to do this. And also, the risk is much higher on a rectangular CRT. It's pretty hard to cause a round CRT to implode because it's round. The pressure's even on all sides. But with a rectangular tube like this, it's much higher risk to do any kind of work on something like this. So take note of that. Rectangular CRT's much higher chance that it could pop or implode. So the first thing, of course, is to pull everything out, get the CRT out. Some basic mechanical skills are needed for that part of the operation. Make sure you kind of take note of where everything is here. Probably going to have to do a full setup and convergence anyway after this, but it's always, a good start to note where all these things are.
Special from the Tournament of Roses, also featuring a behind-the-scenes look at float build and other things. The lawsuit accuses Lyft of not adequately screening its drivers. The company has responded by saying it's constantly adopting new policies and programs to choose to protect those passengers. As for the rollout of coronavirus vaccines and the passage of the long-overdue stimulus package, the economy isn't likely to magically undo last year's damage. Economic analyst Mark Cataract from Bankrate.com.
Jeez, look at this. Look at this aquadag here. It's like bubble crust.
It is vitally important to have an emergency reserve fund. This is the first concept that I call of my big three. And, 8 in 10 Americans...
Ooh, rare earth. The red rare earth phosphor came from a mine called the Mountain Pass Mine. And it's about 2/3 of the way from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. It's a huge open pit mine. And in the 60s and 70s, one of their main products that they sold to RCA and Zenith was the europium. It has a number like 1101 or something. Europium red rare earth phosphors. I actually have a piece of rare earth ore from that mine. Maybe I should grab it and show it in this video. But anyway, off topic. So the silver screws are at the bottom and the top. I don't know if that makes any difference. Okay, the red rare earth phosphor is europium oxide, EU203. EU203 was our biggest money maker at the mine, and that's what made red phosphors in virtually all TVs at the time. Here's a piece of rare earth containing ore from the Mountain Pass mine, and the pinkish color are where your rare earths are contained. This piece of rock right here is where your red phosphor would come from in the CRT. This is the way this is put together is a bit of a trip, actually. Crap. This is definitely one of the more complex CRT as I think I've ever. I mean, usually the degaussing on this thing was pretty complicated. Look at this. It says, the CRT says Admiral Corp on it. Is this an original? Really? No. I'm trying to get all this stuff off and just set it. Does that say grade B? So it's a genuine Admiral replacement? Okay, what you're witnessing right now is a no-no. Do not lift the tube by the neck. Lots of little pieces here. So this went here. Okay, this is a metal trash can. I'm going to put it in here with the neck down. Let's analyze this a little bit. So this is the bottom of the CRT, and the PVA material, this right here, that needs to be removed. This actually looks like it's the green stuff rather than the RCA. And notice how it's got this oily look to it. That, as this stuff is breaking down and degrading, it's causing all this corrosion. And it's caused the aquadag to bubble here. Look at this. This is all like an oily film from the PVA material disintegrating. Now, I know I'm jumping around here. This is a grade B CRT. New electron gun, all other components are used, but it's branded Admiral, which is a little bit confusing. So did they use a genuine Admiral rebuilt CRT? Look at emission, cutoff, gas ratio, focus, purity, degauss, high voltage break, it's probably breakdown, screen, leakage, convergence. Very bizarre. This is the kind of thing I'd expect on a, you know, the CRT TV when it was new. Anyway, another thing, in later years, they made these CRTs a lot more bulletproof by putting a band around them. See this band? The newer CRTs had a band wrapped around real tight and crimped, and that kept them from imploding. I have to remove this band. They called those banded CRTs. I mean, this is exceptionally bad. This is... So how is this on there? Look at the corrosion. Okay, so the tape goes to the bottom. I need to get a face shield. I already got safety glasses on, but I might as well get out the full Kevlar BLM Antifa proof preparation gear, because that thing right there is dangerous. Okay. We got this piece of cork tape here, if I can leave that. I don't know. Oh crap, it just came off that easy. Welcome to flavor country. This is weird. It has an oily, it's oily. Okay, well, hold on. This was a bad example of my earlier statement about being patient, because this one just came right off. But some of them I've taken over an hour after they sat in the sun for several hours, let it sit in the sun and get hot, and then use a heat gun on this RCA style. I've taken over an hour. You cannot rush this. But this was a bad example of that because it was so degraded. But I bet you it takes me over an hour to clean it up. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start cleaning it up right now. Yeah, and it's got to be spick and span. All this oily crap has to come off, because once you glue it back together, it's sealed in there forever. So I got to find something that cleans this oily crap off. Maybe carburetor cleaner, gasoline, I don't know. It smells like carcinogenic children's toys. Has kind of a sweet, almost candy-like odor to it. Anyone like to sniff? As this stuff sits in the air, it's going to be hard to get this on the camera, but as it sits on the air, it's actually like liquefying. I don't know if this is going to show, but it's like breaking down into, see that? It's breaking down into like droplets. It's wet and oily. And it's also starting to smell more. It's like something you want to sniff, but it's probably pretty toxic. It's like toxic plastic. It's pretty cool. Mixed with oil. See that? See how wet it's getting? You think, am I padding this video out too long with BS? Let me clean this crap off. Anytime you're near this, you want your riot gear on. Just right into a trash can. Look at that. I wonder if Windex will dissolve this oil. You know, it seems like Windex did the deed. No oil on that. 4 pieces of double stick tape. Trying to make sure it's as clean as I can get it. Okay, now to silicone it. Yeah, I need to, there's still tape scum along the outside on the front. But yeah, getting this thing centered on here is probably one of the hardest parts of this. Now we'll silicone it. Silicone 1 black. What you do is you just take your time and you just kind of work this in here. Being careful not to squirt it in so far that you'll see it. And I can do it a lot better with 2 hands. I set the tube back in here last night. I did let it sit overnight because by the time it was dry enough to really touch it, it was too late to reassemble it. So, yeah, let me work on putting it back in here. I didn't put the metal strap back on it. I'm still trying to figure out what actually holds it down. This is a little bit different of a contraption. I believe I got it all back in right. I had to actually go back and look at some of my video to make it a little bit faster, but yeah, it's all back in and ready to stand it up and see how it looks. That's the key to the silicone mash out and get in the way of the picture. Oops. So it looks like I got a little bit too impatient after all my preaching at the beginning of the video, and when I set it back in last night, the silicone wasn't quite dry. Here's our spider of the video, and it gushed into the corner there. Bummer. You can also see how eaten away this is from the... You know what? I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not. Look at... Now the spider's on my head. Look at how much better it looks than when we started. But that's a bummer. I should have been patient. I should have left it sit upside down overnight. Yeah, that corner right there. At least it's black, you know. If I'd used white silicone, it would have been really bad. I just noticed this, and I don't know if this was like this when I took it apart, or if this broke off. It's kind of corrody doodle. Maybe this is why the convergence was so whacked out. Heard the degaussing work there, that bow. See what happens. I think I got everything. Got this, that, the audio, the high voltage. Where did our vertical deflection go? Wow, that sure looks better. Except for my silicone boo-boo there. Actually, the convergence still looks decent in the middle. So the convergence looks a hell of a lot better now that I fixed that broken wire. I mean, it was way off over here. It's still not perfect, but it's a hell of a lot better. The compression here is due to bad horizontal output tube. We know that. Seems like I totally lost my color demod. I guess we can screw with that this evening. Probably just need to move the tubes around in the color circuit. There we go. I moved the tubes around on the color board. And this is not great, but I guess it works. Yeah, I moved the tubes around on the color board. Got the color to pop in. Did we drift again on the red? The red looks like it dropped down. The performance difference just in doing the cataract is absolutely incredible. I'll do some before and after. Yeah, that weak horizontal output tube is really... It's why we have the lack of deflection over here on this side. Weak horizontal output tube. I'm not going to worry about it though. I'm going to put a new one in it when I'm ready to put this thing into service. Yeah, my black silicone up here is a little annoying, but I don't think it'll ever be noticed. Yeah, absolutely incredible difference in the... Yeah, the CRT is not good. I mean, we know it's weak, but I'll do some A/B comparisons here, and you'll see how much the Cataract improved it. Let me get the digital converter box, and we'll take a look at some television.
Paid presentation for meaningful beauty.
As Cindy Crawford
Holy crap, what a difference.
Activating breakthrough.
And watch what happens when Cindy invites Grey's Anatomy star Ellen Pompeo to try the evolutionary secret that's kept Cindy's skin looking so youthful for so long.
When you see the pictures of Cindy at age 31 and then now at 52, her skin actually looks more radiant now than it did then. So, you know, whatever she's doing, I'm down.
Right over here, this is deep coral. Then right behind the deep coral, ooh, that's what we're calling almond. So it's almost like a cross between a khaki and a cream. Then right behind there, there's our fuchsia. And then butter. Butter makes everything better, right? Butter makes everything better. So that's that soft yellow. So there's the colors that we have. Shannon's wearing that in the gorgeous magenta shade, which we're calling fuchsia. For $29.88, we're all talking about sprucing up our wardrobe, adding some fun color. Juliana, this does it beautifully. Look at the price. From $87 down.
1,000 revelers gathering. Sheriff's deputies also forced to break up parties across the region. And for nurses and doctors who are seeing this on the front lines, they're begging people to stay home.
Okay, I'm done with this crap. Been there, done it, had it, over it, damaged by it.
So that way
Here we go.
can take the necessary precautions to protect ourselves.
This is our CAD mod here. Look at how bright those greens are.
Hospital to staff for safe patient care. Well, the hospital responded with a statement that reads, Methodist Hospital, like every hospital in Southern California, is experiencing a significant demand for hospital services as a result of the pandemic, representing a need that is well above what is typical or normal. As a result of this extraordinary demand, and while facing a shortage of available nurses, Methodist Hospital continues to provide care for all patients who seek care.
Nearly a dozen Republican senators are teaming up to publicly dispute the presidential election results.
Correspondent Tom Hansen has reaction from supporters and critics of the plan.
11 of President Trump's Senate Republican allies announced a last-ditch effort to challenge President-elect Joe Biden's election victory. In a joint statement Saturday, the senators, including Ted Cruz of Texas and Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee, acknowledged their efforts have almost no chance of changing the outcome. They wrote, "We are not naive. We fully expect most, if not all, Democrats and perhaps more than a few Republicans to vote otherwise. but support of election integrity should not be a partisan issue.
This audit will answer the questions as to what happened in some of the disputed states. Of course, Pennsylvania, there are so many questions around Pennsylvania.
Amy Klobuchar, the ranking Democrat on the Senate Rules Committee with jurisdiction over federal elections, said in a statement, Joe Biden will be inaugurated on January 20th, and no publicity stunt will change that. Earlier this week, Missouri Senator Josh Hawley sided with a group of House conservatives who want to prompt a debate and put the results up for vote.
This is the only opportunity that I have to be heard and to speak up on behalf of my constituents.
Congress convenes Wednesday to certify the electoral vote, normally a formality. But President Trump's unsubstantiated claims of fraud leave some Republicans under pressure to question the results. Vice President Mike Pence will preside over the counting of the votes. He and the Justice Department asked a Texas federal judge to throw out a long-shot lawsuit aimed at empowering him to overturn the results. Late Friday, the judge dismissed that case.
There you go.
Tom Hansen, CBS 2 News.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's house was vandalized early this morning. The words, "Where's my money?" were left at McConnell's front door. "Mitch kills poor" and expletives were also written on the house. The graffiti is presumably a reference to McConnell blocking the delivery of a $2,000 stimulus check to qualifying Americans. McConnell released a statement saying, "Vandalism and the politics of fear have no place in our society." And last night, the San Francisco home of Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi was also vandalized. The garage was spray painted with messages and a pig's head was left on the sidewalk. Well, the so-called Soho Karen.
All right, well, there you go. There's pretty much a restoration of the 1965 Admiral combo unit. I can't believe how big of a difference the Cataract made.